pretty gloomy these past couple days. It doesn't really look it right now, but it's supposed to be like kind of cold, which is fine, you know, the gloom brings coziness or whatever. But yeah, hi. Long time no chitty chat on the vlog, I guess. It always feels weird, you know, going back into regular vlogging after a bunch of travel. So it's been a while since I've, you know, let loose and spoken to you guys in this more casual way. For this video, I'm wanting to do like a daily sketchbooking video because I feel like I've been in a bit of a funk. I feel like with how busy my life has been lately and now kind of settling into a bit more like normalcy and like knowing that I'm just gonna like chill here for a while, I'm starting to be able to kind of ground myself and look around and think about what I want to do next kind of thing. So yeah, that's this video. I'm just going to put aside an hour each day of this week to play around in my sketchbook. Typically when I sit down to sketchbook, I just look for like random references and I just like pull whatever looks interesting to me and I do like a study of it, or I do like a bunch of figure drawing or whatever. But that kind of like turns my sketchbooking sessions into like specifically like art practice or like anatomy drawing practice and studying, and it's less of just like play for me to like chill and explore in my sketchbook. So yeah, that's kind of gonna be the structure and the goal of this, and I'm just gonna ramble on as I do and we'll have a fun time. So welcome. Today's Monday. Let's get started. Okay, hi, hello. So I just finished my first sketchbook session, my hour of sketchbooking for today, and it was good. It was nice. I went into it kind of with a plan. I feel like I'm working through a lot of like struggle around trying to make sketchbooking feel like natural, I guess. Yeah, because like, I don't know, maybe like, I feel like I've talked about this before, but maybe like since university-ish, where like I would sketchbook often, but I also had assignments and I knew like I wanted to improve on my art. Sketchbooking has kind of become a place where I am like purposefully trying to make good drawings and I'm trying to improve. You know, there's a lot of like weight on what I'm trying to do in my sketchbook, whereas what sketchbooking used to be when I was like in high school or junior high, or you know, even before then, when I would just sit down and draw, it was just play. So I'm really trying to like think about how I can reconnect with that feeling. And I know it's like, it's kind of ironic because originally that feeling came from not overthinking it, but now I feel like as the adult that I've grown into, I kind of like can't help but overthink it. So I feel like I need some sort of plan or like structure in order for me to approach something. So before I sat down and did this, I just like looked at a couple different artists on Instagram and filled my head with some inspiration just so that I wasn't going in like completely raw. And I thought up a couple different topics that I could doodle in this first kind of session. Yeah, this first one that I did is just a portrait of Benedict Wong because me and Brandon just finished watching Three Body Problem, the first season on Netflix, and I think he's my favorite character in the show. Brandon really likes the show. I think like now that we've done a season, the characters have kind of like, I feel like I've been through something with them, so I've kind of found them endearing. But at the beginning of the show, I was a little bit like, I don't know if I like this, just because of like some of the storytelling elements and stuff were kind of like cheesy to me, or like, I don't know. It was just a slow burn, I think, for me, but it's a good show. So yeah, this is a character in there. He's like a detective, and just watching the show, I think that Benedict Wong has a very interesting face, and kind of like, it's like attractive in its own right. And so yeah, I just wanted to do a portrait of it. So this next drawing that I did, it was referenced from like a ukiyo-e print of just like flowers, because flowers are nice. It's kind of like a brain empty kind of like buffer subject matter to put in between drawings. I feel like when I draw flowers, I want to be able to do them in like an impressionistic way, in a way that's like very like loose and kind of like quote unquote painterly and like coloring in blobs. Like what comes to mind is like Lee Ellickson, how she you know, does her nature paintings and her nature sketchbooking. It's so inspiring to me to see how expressive she can be with color and shapes and whatever. And so I don't know, like I can go into a drawing wanting to kind of do that, but my nature is very like line and detail. So that's kind of what ended up happening, and I like how it turned out. And then yeah, next I started drawing Atarashi Gakko. They are I'm sure you've maybe heard of them or at least seen them somewhere. They're kind of like picking up in the mainstream, but they're a girl group from Japan. I don't really listen to their music, but I follow them on Instagram, and I think they're so cute and cool. And yeah, I just love like the whole trope of like a group of girls that are all kind of different in their own right. Like it kind of gives like Winx Club, or like, what was that other like witch show? It was called Witch. Those like TV shows that I watched growing up, or like Sailor Moon, you know, where like it's like a group of girls and they're all kind of like different and cool and like they have their own thing about them. So that's kind of the vibes that I get from them. And yeah, when I started, it felt good. I feel like maybe my first initial strokes of drawing this first portrait, I was a little bit self-doubty because maybe, I don't know, the last few times that I've tried sketchbooking, I've felt kind of disconnected and maybe like doubting my own skill, and I don't know, there's like some sort of block going on. Maybe it's just like art block or fucking creative block or whatever, which it's been a long time since I've, you know, admitted to that. I think, like, obviously we all struggle with creativity from time to time, but for the most part, over the past long while, like, it's been pretty okay in terms of, like, regardless of how I'm doing mentally, like, I've been pretty consistently able to, you know, feel good about drawing. And lately, I kind of haven't really felt that way. Or like maybe I've just been like overanalyzing how I feel about it. I feel like as I draw, my mind is just like full of judgments already of what is on the page, and every stroke kind of comes along with, oh, what if that wasn't the right move? Oh, what if this drawing doesn't turn out? Like there's so much turmoil that goes on up there. Sometimes that's quieter, sometimes it's a little louder like now, but yeah, I mean, looking at this spread, like you wouldn't be able to tell that there's so much self-doubt going on internally as I'm drawing this. So those are my thoughts for my first day of the week of sketchbooking. I'm excited to continue. I feel like this first spread will kind of be the most difficult. Firstly, because I'm still warming up to feeling comfortable talking to you guys again, or like, you know, easing myself back into the groove that I find when I vlog consistently. And also just the more I sketchbook, the more comfortable I'll feel. So yeah, that's the vibe for this one. See you guys tomorrow. Okay, so I literally just sat down to get my like intro shot of or whatever for today, for Tuesday's sketchbook session, just of like me setting up and putting out my sketchbook and whatever. And then I thought like, oh, okay, I should probably figure out what I'm going to be drawing today. And so I went on Pinterest and I'm at a loss. Isn't that sad? So my initial thinking was like, oh, okay, I'll just find some like bodies or something to draw, or like maybe I'll just do like a spread full of like hands and do hand studies. But then my brain is like, no, I'm trying to not do studies because I should be focusing on what I like. What do I like? Like I want to do like fan stuff or something, because somehow in my mind I've convinced myself that that's the right thing to do. But like I'm realizing like maybe what's wrong is not what I'm doing in my sketchbook, or not what I tend to do in my sketchbook. What's wrong is thinking that anything that I do in my sketchbook could be wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's my sketchbook. I can literally do whatever the fuck I want in it. And like, why am I overthinking this? As you can see, I'm a bit of a mess currently when it comes to my art, and I guess just my brain in general right now is a bit frantic and overthinky. So okay, so did the sketchbook spread. Here we are. I had so many thoughts going through this. Let me see if I can find them all. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I just kind of decided to not put so much pressure on the subject matter of what I was doodling. The important thing is that I'm sketchbooking right now, and so I was trying to like hang on to that notion that, you know, whatever I draw right now is right and there is no wrong. And I'm kind of like, I feel like right now, I don't know, maybe I'm going through something. I feel sad for some reason. I feel drained, which obviously sucks. Like, nobody wants to feel that way. Plus it's summer, so I'm kind of like disappointed that I'm in this state right now, because summer is something that I wait for all year, and while it's here, I want to make the most of it. So it's frustrating kind of feeling the feelings that I do right now, but you know, what do you do? That's what it is to be human. When you feel something, you just need to accept it and feel it and connect with it. And if it's a negative emotion, you just kind of gotta wait for it to pass, or, you know, figure out how to support yourself through it, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. This first drawing, I went in trying to remind myself, or like trying to reiterate for myself, that whatever goes down on this page, I'm gonna love, and I'm gonna put love into. And yeah, I feel like a lot of the time when I sit down to sketchbook, I'm like, I just want something pushed out like quick and effortless. And I kind of like hold myself to that expectation that if I can't do it effortlessly in the way that I see other artists doing things, which I know is just like my perception of it, I don't know what's going on in their heads, but to me, when I see artists that I admire just like drawing, it feels effortless because I'm just watching it, right? So that's kind of the high expectation that I put in for myself, and then I just like kind of doodle something quickly and try to be like, make the action effortless, but then obviously it turns out oftentimes not the best drawing because I'm not putting effort into it. So I was trying to take this one slow and put a lot of care into the shapes and things like that, and I was trying to take the pressure off of like the possibility of this drawing turning out like bad and me being disappointed in myself for it, if that makes sense. Like, I wanted to do all of it with love, and I feel like I did that. I'm happy with the drawing. I think it turned out nice. It's just like a figure study or whatever, so I don't want to diminish the importance of figure studies, but it is my comfort zone. So yeah, moving through the rest of the spread, it all just kind of was another few like Pinterest reference things, or just like exploring how I am feeling a little bit, or just like drawing whatever farts out of my hand, I guess. Yeah, I was thinking like, I don't know, I judge myself so harshly for always kind of drawing the same things in my sketchbook, but like, me thinking that that's wrong is me placing made up rules on myself, where like sketchbooking, there are no rules. It's your sketchbook. It's like somewhere you can just literally draw anything you want, and it shouldn't come with judgments. So that's like a hard thing to reinforce with myself, and like eventually as I unlearn that bad habit, it's just going to be something that I, need to actively repeat in my mind as I'm drawing, that like whatever goes down on this page is perfect, and it doesn't need to be anything more than what it is. So yeah, currently I'm in a bit of a state of vulnerability, or like I'm working through something, or I'm going through something, I don't know. So when I'm kind of feeling a little down on myself, or a little less good about myself maybe, or I don't know, I feel like my shields are down kind of thing right now. I have a tendency to overanalyze and compare myself to other artists that I like, because I guess when I'm feeling a little bit lost, I look to find inspiration elsewhere to kind of get myself back up and back going. But then looking to other artists, it's hard to not compare yourself and to be like hard on yourself for struggling when it seems like and it looks like other artists just do it effortlessly, which I know is so untrue. And I've talked about this before, like the shit that you see on Instagram and whatever, and like all of the finished artworks that you're seeing from people are them at their best and them showing their best work. And if I look back at my work, I have obviously tons of work that I've made that I'm proud of that is my best work. And sometimes I'm able to do stuff like that, seemingly effortlessly to others maybe, and at other times, like now, it's a little harder. And everybody goes through that, because we're all human. We're all, you know, not perfect creation art machines. But it's hard to, you know, convince myself of that when all I see, or all I'm paying attention to, I guess, because like definitely people do share their struggles like how I am, but all I'm consuming, I guess, is the best stuff and the good stuff. So it's like I'm trying to like pull the veil from my own eyes while I'm like in it, you know? It's a difficult thing to balance. So yeah, but I mean, you know, all in all, generally, I'm happy with the spread. I feel like I flowed a little bit better than yesterday, maybe because I wasn't following such a guideline. Like yesterday, I literally like picked out my topics and I picked out my reference images one after the other, so I had like a roadmap to follow. And while like going into sketchbooking without that is definitely more scary for me, especially when I'm, you know, I have a time limit and I'm recording on video and stuff like that. I know I'm being watched. It's more scary, but this felt more natural. And it felt more like a cohesive sketchbook session rather than me just checking off a list of things that I was meant to draw. Even though like my brain was just running the whole time and like overthinking and whatever, I did kind of like feel good about like flowing and drawing things and whatever. If that makes any sense, you guys. That is the sketchbook spread for today. Today's a bit of a busy day, that's why I did this in the morning. I have some work to do and then I want to go to the gym, and then tonight that poster show is on for the poster that I did for Ecstasy. Hi, good morning. It's Wednesday today, and yeah, I have my Ecstasy poster here that I picked up last night. I didn't get too much footage when we were there. We literally just like stopped by, said hi to a couple people, and just picked up my poster. But yeah, I have it now. And it turned out really nice. Burnt Toast Studio, which is like a screen printing / printmaking studio in Calgary, did the print and they fucking killed it. It looks amazing. And it's really cool. The like gold on there is kind of like metallic. So depending on the angle and the light that you look at it, it kind of takes on different like tones, which is really cool. So yeah, I have it, so I figured I should, you know, maybe take a photo of it and post it on Instagram. I feel like my problem with, you know, wanting to post more on Instagram, like share more candidly in the way that I do on YouTube, is that with Instagram, you're posting photos, and I am a raging perfectionist when it comes to photos, especially when it comes to presenting my art, you know? so many times I've like taken pictures of like something in my sketchbook or something just like casual that I've done, and I come super close to posting it, but then I just like pull out at the last second because I'm like, no, it's not. It doesn't look aesthetic. It's not like cute or whatever. But then on the other hand, there's so much charm to just like dump posting and shit like that. Like when people just like dump a bunch of their random photos. But I feel like my art account specifically, that's not the vibe of it. And I want it to be that vibe. But for some reason, I'm like holding myself back from doing that, because typically on my Instagram, I just post like finished digital work. Or like if I'm posting like a sketch or something, it's edited and like presented in a nice way. Okay, excuse me wearing like the same sweater multiple days of the week. It's my coziest sweater. It's my favorite sweater right now, so deal with it. Okay, yeah, hi. So today's sketchbook session went pretty freaking good. I'm feeling a lot better today. I'm feeling lighter, more clear. Usually I feel like when I sit down to sketchbook, I really need to like hype myself up and like ask myself, like, do I feel ready to sketchbook right now? Should I do it later? Is there a better time? But today I just kind of like woke up, did my little morning routine, whatever. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna sketchbook without thinking too hard about whether or not right now is the ideal time to do it. So that's cool. I think that's a good sign. And yeah, I just literally, I did my best not to like overthink today about what I was going to draw. Again, I didn't go in with a plan or anything. I just opened up Pinterest and selected like the first image that I saw that I wanted to draw, and I drew it. And then from there I just kind of like followed the little rabbit hole that Pinterest presents to you of related images or whatever. So yeah, it felt really good. Again, like yesterday, I selected like a few materials to kind of play with. I feel like, so the first day, looking back at those other spreads, it kind of feels like pretty all over the place. I did stick to like a handful of items, but it doesn't feel as cohesive as yesterday's spread and today's spread. I think because these 2 days I specifically selected like 2 or 3 pens and markers that I would use for the entire spread and follow like a consistent color scheme. So while I feel like, yeah, it doesn't really matter what colors you pick or what materials you use in your sketchbook, but it does feel better when a sketchbook spread like is aesthetically cohesive and satisfying to look at. So I think that kind of helped. And yeah, I don't know, I just, it felt good. I flowed nicely. I was thinking about how, I don't know, giving myself a set amount of time to sketchbook when I sit down to sketchbook is, I think it's helpful for me right now. I don't know if it's like the best thing or the right thing that I should be doing outside of like making a video. But when I sit down and I know that, okay, I'm intending to sit here for an hour and just play in my sketchbook, each drawing that I do, it feels like I can kind of spend time with it and sit with it. And when I finish a drawing, I don't have to decide whether or not I want to stop or go and continue drawing. I know that I can like look at my time or whatever and know that, okay, it's still time to draw. I can still do another drawing. Whereas I feel like when I sit down to sketchbook just randomly without any time constraints or whatever, I do a couple drawings and I'm like, okay, that's good. And I don't really like push myself further to draw more. All of the drawings I like for the most part. I think they turned out. I feel like I'm feeling more mentally clear today because yesterday, I guess after struggling, I guess, with the sketchbook spread, I guess I didn't like struggle too much, but in my brain, I was like kind of like all messed up. So I did that, and then I continued to do some work tasks and move on with my day, and I was feeling like stressed about certain work things, and then Brandon asked me like, how are you feeling? Because I told him I'm kind of feeling like sad lately for some reason, and something about like him asking me if I'm like okay or if I'm still sad made me feel sadder. or like I felt myself kind of welling up at that question. And yeah, I feel like with the like work shit that I was dealing with and whatever, I felt kind of like super overwhelmed and like I could just break down at any second. So I sat and I took a pause with work for a second and then wrote down all of the reasons, all of the factors that I think are playing into me feeling kind of sad and overwhelmed right now. And it's like a long list. And then I tried listing out the positive things that are kind of trying to push the teeter in the other direction. But I feel like it's like this right now for all of the different things in my life. So I think just laying that out for myself was helpful, as well as thinking about how my emotions are affecting me, and I'm allowing myself to feel my emotions and connect with them, even though like it's not great that it is affecting my day-to-day and making me feel like I can't be as creative and productive than I would like to be. I'm still allowing myself to feel what I feel, and I'm allowing myself to interrupt my like daily programming. And that in comparison to like a couple years ago or whatever, where like my life was basically stable in terms of like my productivity and whatever, because I would never check in with myself and allow myself to be interrupted so that I could take a second to feel and connect with myself. And so now, even though it's like me connecting with like negative emotions, like being sad or overwhelmed, I'm still doing that and I'm still connecting. So that's a positive. Like I'm proud of myself for allowing myself to feel, even though allowing myself to feel more deeply is not always like a happy feeling. So that was good. So that made me feel a little bit better. And then lately I've been working on telling people how I feel and including them in my struggles and whatever I'm working through. A few days ago, I had the revelation in a conversation with some friends that I am very closed off and I don't share things about myself, which is kind of ironic and kind of like crazy to think, because obviously on YouTube I spill my guts out and I spill my heart. But something about this interaction, me speaking to a camera, it's almost like a personal like video diary. So it's easier for me to use this as an outlet to like vent or to, you know, speak about how I'm feeling or to open up. But when I'm with my friends, it's harder for me to do that for some reason. So yeah, it's something that I'm now aware of, that I know that like it's obvious to my friends that I'm very closed off. So knowing that, it's making me think like, whoa, okay, so it's obvious. So there's something that needs to happen here. And I want to be able to open up to people, to their faces, not like them having to come to my fucking YouTube channel to see how I'm really doing. That's been something that I'm working on. And I feel like that's, of course, you know, it's a hard and mentally draining thing to do. So I feel like that's contributing to the feelings of overwhelm that I'm dealing with right now. But yeah, all in all, obviously it's more of a positive than a negative to be vulnerable and open up, even though it can be emotionally and mentally draining. That's what I'm trying to do. That's how I'm trying to move forward with my life and my relationships. And so doing so, I feel like has made me feel better about creating and made me feel a little less like congested up here and overthinky about my whole life. So I don't know if any of that made sense, but welcome to me, I guess. That's the sketchbook spread for today, the sketchbook session. Okay, it's Thursday. Yeah, hi. I know I probably look a little weird right now. I kind of look like a cartoon character. Like, what is this shirt? I look like Timmy Turner. But I went to the gym earlier and I didn't feel like washing my hair after, so we're hiding her. I'm settled in and I just did my hour sketchbook spread. I think it was a little bit shorter than an hour this time, just because, I don't know, I feel kind of tired today. Not like, I feel good, but I feel tired, and I was tempted to not sketchbook, or like there were thoughts flowing around in my brain of like, I don't really want to sketchbook today, but I have to because I'm doing this video, so I guess that's good, you know, that this video is holding me accountable to do it. And I'm glad, like, looking back at the sketchbook spread now that it's done, I like it and I'm glad that I did it. But yeah, it's a very fickle thing, like relying on my mood, I guess, to motivate me to sketchbook. Sometimes it is good to kind of push yourself and hold yourself accountable in one way or another. And sometimes it's needed to kind of be a little more gentle with yourself and let yourself take a little break or whatever if you need it. So yeah, doing this spread, I did the same kind of thing as the past two spreads where I just like picked a single color to kind of play with. I'm really liking this vibe of using a single color per spread. Like I said yesterday, it's very satisfying and it kind of like gives me a little extra serotonin as I'm working in my sketchbook. So that's nice. It's a little extra motivating factor, I guess. But yeah, working on each of these drawings, I was, you know, trying to reinforce the same things that I kind of have been, to go slow and to put love into each and every one of these drawings. And yeah, obviously, like, the more that I put into something, the better it's going to turn out. And I'm kind of learning this, especially like looking at my sketchbook earlier today, because I was filming a sketchbook spread for this sketchbook, and I did this one in 2019 to 2021. And yeah, it's just interesting looking back at some of these drawings, because some of them it's like very obvious that I was trying to be very like quick, like I was talking about yesterday or something. Like I was expecting myself to produce beautiful, impressive stuff effortlessly, so I was putting in the like effortlessness, but I wasn't getting out what I kind of had hoped for myself. So like going from this and comparing this kind of level of effort to now like trying to intentionally go slower and be a little bit more like careful with each stroke that I put down. It's cool. Like it's a cool little revelation that seems obvious, you know, and it seems like that should be the default, is that anything that I do draw I put care into and I'm careful with. But I think my like impatient efficiency side of my brain sometimes blocks that out, and like when I'm drawing something I just want to do it as quickly and efficiently as possible. I'm trying to do it fast so that I don't waste time, so that I can move on to the next thing or something. But going into sketchbooking with that mindset is like kind of silly, because sketchbooking isn't something that, you know, you should rush through and just get through like it's any other like work task or something like that. And I think that's the way that I've been treating it. Again, I think it helps that, you know, I know that I have an hour and that's like lots of time to like play. It's really allowing me to slow down and try to like appreciate the joy of creating, which is hard to do if you're just sprinting through it all and just trying to fill your sketchbook as quickly as possible. So I think a sketchbook deserves a little bit more care than that, and I'm starting to realize that. The individual drawings are cool and fine, like the first few or whatever that I have here are all from reference, and then the last couple, I don't know, I felt myself like feeling kind of fatigued, so I just did some like random doodling. And typically I look down on myself for drawing this like default whatever shit that I've drawn a billion times before, like my little outfit illustration that I did that's like very simple and like kind of whatever. I really didn't put much effort into it at all. And then this like just like a face, a three-quarter face. My brain wants to be like, oh, you're just taking a shortcut, you're just drawing whatever, which like, yeah, these last couple drawings are filler, but I'm feeling okay about it. I think partially because of the sketchbook tour that I did this morning and like looking through old sketchbooks and just like reminding myself that like I feel like most artists draw the same kind of thing over and over, and that's like what they are known for, and that's, you know, nobody bugs them about it, because if that's what they like to draw, then that's what they like to draw. And I don't know why I'm so like hard on myself about that. Like I feel like I need to be so like versatile and like draw something different every single day and like experiment and be different and have variety, but like that's not the case at all. Again, I feel like I'm repeating the same kinds of sentiments that I was talking about yesterday, but I'm the only one who's holding myself to this standard. That's all. That's all I have to say. I'm tired today. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that. The yellow's cute. I like the yellow. And that's all. The original goal was to draw. Hi. How's it going? It's so dark over here. Hi. It's Friday today, and we love Fridays. I'm just gonna make myself a little iced matcha. I just finished editing the sketchbook tour that would have come out the week before this video did, so I'm feeling lighter for sure, and I figured now would be a good time to do my little hour of sketchbooking. So. Okay, hi. So yeah, successful little sketchbooking session just now. Yeah, like I said, today's Friday, so I feel like I'm feeling a little bit more like clear, and I feel like there's not as much pressure on me to be super like productive or like do like work stuff because it's Friday and it's like kind of weekendy vibes right now, which is like, it's so like each day, like especially for me, because I don't have a job really. Everything that I do is just up to me when I do it. But like, it's funny that like weekdays and weekends still affect me mentally. Like I feel like I'm kind of expected to be working during the weekday, and then I feel more free to do whatever I want on the weekends. But really, like everything that I do is valid and work because I'm contributing to my career, and you know, especially when I'm doing like YouTube stuff or something. If I'm like working on a video during the week, or like I'm editing or something like that, I feel guilty and I feel like I should be doing work, and I feel like I've talked about this before, but like I am working towards something, and it is still like, I don't know, a part of my greater career as a whole, or like my art practice, or like my my presence online or whatever. So yeah, it's just funny, but I am appreciating the clarity that comes with today being borderline weekend. So I feel like that definitely was reflected in my sketchbooking. But yeah, for this one, I kind of was trying to focus on like not pushing myself to fill an entire spread in this single sitting. I feel like the past couple ones that I've done, like they've all been full spreads, and I've kind of like maybe subconsciously been like telling myself that I need to fill this entire spread within the hour. So kind of going against that and allowing myself to take my time with each of these little drawings that I was doing. It was nice. It was, yeah, it felt more chill and stuff. I put on like a YouTube video as I was working on this, and the video just happened to be around an hour, so it was nice having that like kind of companion piece with me, and knowing that like when the video that I'm watching is over is when I'll like stop sketchbooking. So it kind of felt like, I don't know, I was like taking a break or like chilling because I was watching something that was entertaining, but also working in my sketchbook alongside that. So yeah, each of these drawings I think are fine. The first one especially was like, I think that went pretty well. I was using these Prismacolor, or I guess just this one, Prismacolor Premier pencil crayon. I've used the Prismacolor Premier and the Prismacolor Scholar pencil crayons, and the difference between the two is like crazy. I know that these are like more expensive, obviously, because they're the higher end ones, but I definitely like much prefer a smaller range and like color selection of these ones versus like a bunch of colors in the Scholar, because these pencil crayons go down like so smooth and they just feel so good. I don't know what it is. And then when I switch to like my cheaper ones, it's just not the same. Like these are like creamy and like buttery almost, going down on paper. So that's what I was using. And then same as the past couple times with the color selection here. I went with all green, and I was kind of looking at references around like nature and stuff like that. So I'm kind of at a loss of what to say for this one. Like it felt good, and yeah, I don't really have very many thoughts today, and that's okay, you know? I feel like maybe for the past like little while I've been so introspective and so like over analytical in my own brain, and like my brain has been constantly like analyzing itself and thinking like, okay, so I'm going through something, what am I feeling, what's going on, blah blah blah. So I feel like now that I'm kind of settling into feeling chill again and being clear again, and now coming into the weekend, I feel like my brain is just like empty, and that's okay. It's kind of nice, the silence. After, you know, all of the noise that has been going on lately. So yeah, that's all for this one. That's all I have to say. Okay, hello. Happy Saturday. So yeah, I started my day with sketchbooking today. It's still pretty early in the morning. It's like 9:45. Because yeah, I don't know. I woke up. It feels peaceful today. It's a Saturday. I don't feel like I'm needed anywhere. I don't have any expectations for myself to like be super productive today or whatever, because it's the weekend. So yeah, feeling pretty clear. Decided to get this done in the morning, and I feel like, so I chose, you know, my normal selection of a few different materials to play with today, and I'm using this brush pen. The brand is called Zig. It says Zig Clean Color Rail Brush. I forget where I got this, but it's very like soft, the brush, so it's kind of hard to control. People who are able to use like actual brush pens to like ink and line and draw are just like mystical creatures to me, because it's so difficult. So I feel like I was struggling a little bit on this first drawing. I like how it turned out because I was able to go in with the black afterwards and really like start to carve things out and add the structure that's kind of missing from the softness of this red brush. So that's cool. I like this first drawing. And then I went in with the Posca marker, just because the times that I used it a couple spreads ago or whatever, it just feels really satisfying because it's so like opaque, and it's almost like just coloring on paint, I guess. And it feels very like childlike in its chunkiness and finiteness. Like once you put down a mark, there's no way you're gonna get rid of it, or you can't really cover it up after. So yeah, I wanted to incorporate that into that spread just because it feels good. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like it got a little bit messy. Maybe I got a little too carried away with myself. Anyways, I moved on to the next drawing, and this was just like with the black pen. I feel like I wanted, you know, to just lean into some precision after that red pen drawing that felt a little like loosey-goosey, and I felt like I was losing control, so I needed to feel like I was a little bit in control for the next one. And then yeah, after that I just drew a like monk kid. I was looking for reference of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, because I just finished rewatching it. Every couple of years I get the urge to rewatch that series because it was like such a joyful part of my childhood, and like watching it again as an adult, it still holds up and I enjoy it a lot. Yeah, so while this wasn't like a reference of the actual character, it was just like a photo of a child martial artist in a robe, and then it kind of looked like Aang, so I added the arrow. And then yeah, in the background I just added some like flowy elements. I feel like lately I've really been defaulting to like a solid block background or whatever, but I thought I would play with, you know, doing something a little more flowy. And then the last drawing that I did, I was honestly tired of the chunkiness of the markers that I was using and the felt pen. I you know, as I was drawing these, I was like, man, I wish I could just like draw with precision and be able to erase. So I switched to pencil. And yeah, that was nice. I mean, I feel like I've been so used to drawing with pencil in my Moleskine. That's my travel sketchbook. And Moleskine paper, I've talked about this before, but Moleskine paper is just like, I don't know what they put in it, but pencil just like glides on so nice and it just like holds it so deeply. And then this paper is just like really cheap and thin. So drawing on this with pencil was, you know, not as satisfying as what I've been used to. I've been spoiled with my paper quality lately. But yeah, it was still nice to, you know, get in a drawing that I felt like I felt comfortable with and just like building out the forms of the body. Honestly, when I started this drawing, I didn't really like how it was going. I thought it was going to end up being bad because there's a lot of like foreshortening in this pose and I don't know, but by the end of it, after adding in the like shading and, you know, deepening certain lines and whatever, looking at it now, I like it. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like generally for this spread, I took my time again. I was trying to be very chill. I was listening to Brat because that album has been everywhere lately and I've been meaning to give it a listen. It's very good. And yeah, I don't know, I was just like vibing with listening to music and doodling at the same time. At some points during this spread, I felt like kind of like lost, kind of self-doubty, kind of like, I don't know if I like what's going on this page, on this spread. Something that was going through my mind as I was working through these drawings is like, kudos to like artists. Especially if you're fucking neurotic like me and you overthink everything and you are an anxious and self-doubty human being. It's hard. It's hard to make art and be confident in yourself and your work when, especially nowadays when it's like so easy to see what else is out there and like how skilled and talented and amazing other people are, but continuing to try and improve yourself is, it's hard. But we do it anyways, and kudos to us. So, I don't know. But yeah, that's all, I guess, for this. I have a few more little items that I need to work through today. I'm working on an illustration that I'm trying to finish, and then I gotta work on I'm working on a PowerPoint presentation for my Patreon video podcast that I'm gonna film for next month. It's just gonna be a bunch of like desk work for the rest of the day. So, yeah. How's it going? So I'm just working on this illustration that I alluded to earlier. This I started like a couple vlogs ago, I think. And I'm nearly finished. I think I'm basically pretty much finished. I'm just gonna touch up it's really hard to see because of the reflections here, but yeah, I thought I would jump in here because I haven't really, this entire like vlog or whatever has just been me sketchbooking, and I guess that's like desirable content to have because I feel like a lot of you guys enjoy most when it's like, you know, commentary on top of art making. I thought I would hop in here and sprinkle in some chitty chats because is it really a vlog of mine if I don't like sit and talk about my feelings? Which definitely I have been doing so far in this video, but I just have been thinking some thoughts as I'm just working on this that I thought that I would share. So yeah, I don't know, I feel like you guys have heard me talk at length about how I've been feeling during this video so far, and so, I don't know, tomorrow being my last little sketchbook session of the video, which will wrap up my week of sketchbooking, I feel like I've gone from, you know, feeling kind of weird and low to feeling a little bit better, but also kind of that feeling of like, I'm feeling better, but it comes with an anxiety of like, am I really okay? Because did I really address what I was dealing with earlier? I don't know. Well, why am I suddenly feeling better now? Like, is it literally just the weather? Is it literally just that, you know, like I'm spending quality time with myself in my sketchbook and things like that? I don't know. But yeah, I found myself going back to Instagram and YouTube Studio a lot, especially since this morning a new video went live. It's been difficult for me to resist the temptation of constantly like seeing how it's doing, checking for new comments. I feel like it's harder for me in these past few days to stop myself from indulging in, you know, checking for notifications and things like that. I feel like partially me like checking for new YouTube comments and notifications and things is I'm kind of just like holding my breath to the next critical comment that I get, or not 100% positive comment that I get, perhaps negative. And it's like I almost want a negative comment in some like weird fucked up way. Like I feel like in my brain deep down I'm like telling myself like, oh, you're a fraud, you're like somebody's gonna call you out on something, like things are going a little bit too well right now. And so I'm holding out for somebody else to tell me that my doubts are right, which is like, I'm sure a lot of people deal with this and like low-key struggle with this, that like when you get any sort of like negative feedback or criticism, it hits that much harder, especially if you're like dealing with other things or like you're feeling a little bit more vulnerable or sensitive. It hits a little harder because you've been just like waiting for that. You've been waiting for the validation of the self-doubt and the negative thoughts in your own mind, and hearing them being validated outwardsly by somebody else just kind of like is like a strange like self-sabotagey like, see, I knew it. I knew that there was something wrong with me. This comment or this whatever, this critical person is proving me right, which is like silly, obviously. And like, I don't want that to be how I feel and how I think, but I feel like in times like these, that's kind of what it is. Yeah, I don't really know what I want to say here. I feel like I was pushed to talk right now because I like literally just got a pretty negative comment for no reason. It's just, I don't know, maybe that person was just having a bad day or something. But so I'm kind of like, when I receive a negative comment, I'm like, oh shit, okay, here we go. Here we go. It's happening. It's real. And it's kind of like, okay, how am I gonna handle this? Is this gonna really affect me, or am I okay right now? Yeah, I don't know. Like in this instance that literally just happened, I read the comments and I was like, oh, that's ouch. But then, you know, I was like, okay, am I gonna let this affect me? How am I feeling right now? Is it okay? And then I did a little journaling and I tried to like be nice to myself, and I eased myself with saying like, you know, it's okay. This criticism is just one out of many, and it has nothing to do with me, I'm sure, because I would never, you know, intentionally try and be rude to somebody online or not. So whatever this person is going through, it has nothing to do with me, and I have nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing wrong with me. So, yeah, I don't know. I literally don't know what I'm trying to say here. I hope this is not coming off as like so insecure of me right now. But if I'm being honest, yeah, I can be a little insecure. Can't we all? I'm just feeling it a little more acutely right now, while also trying to make this video. So, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, if I'm going through it and I'm feeling it, it's going on the vlog. And maybe that will come to bite me in the ass, but this is what I'm choosing to do with my life. And I hope that, you know, my discomfort over here will somehow be helpful or comforting to you over there. And I need to keep reminding myself of that this is why I do what I do. I just, I guess like I want to remind myself that, and remind you guys especially, like in the midst of this self-doubt and in the midst of, you know, feeling like a little extra critical of myself, I am trying to remind myself of the overwhelming support that I get from you guys, and all the nice things that you guys say to me, all of the beauty there is in all of this. And I'm gonna start crying. Yeah, that's embarrassing. Yeah, sorry. I didn't think I was gonna cry right now talking about this, but I guess that's kind of what's there's some turmoil going on up here, and that's why. Oh my god. I feel like extra embarrassed right now because, like I said, I'm feeling a little critical. So now I'm just like imagining, you know, people who don't really like me that much watching me cry right now and being critical of me crying right now. And I feel like that's what I'm struggling with the most, maybe, is like knowing that I'm being perceived by so many people, and inevitably some of those people will be judging me not in the most positive light. So I guess I'm just like grappling with that fact, and I'm grappling with trying to see the beauty in obviously the majority of you being so amazing and supportive and everything. Yeah, I don't know. I literally don't know what this is about. I'm sorry that I'm, you know, talking about all this random bullshit, and this is supposed to be a sketchbooking video. What the hell, guys? I hope I'm not scaring off anybody new. Jesus. Hi, good morning. It's Sunday, and it's the last day of my little sketchbooking, my week of sketchbooking or whatever. So I'm gonna do that last sketchbook session once my coffee's done. But yeah, hello. I've been thinking a lot about what I said yesterday and how I was feeling yesterday. I feel like whenever I come on the vlog and talk about my feelings and it's like not necessarily positive, I need to like come around to a conclusion and end on a positive resolution or something. And I know that's not always realistic, but I feel like after talking about it with you guys, talking about it with Brandon, sharing some stuff with some friends, which is a new thing for me that I'm trying to do more of, I feel like I am realizing that I'm like dealing with a lot of different emotions in my life right now because of different situations, namely shame and grief. Lately I've been, you know, trying to explore the concept of shame and learn about it. And, you know, I know now, and I have learned, and I'm learning that it's just an emotion and it's just a feeling that comes and then it goes. So any shame that I might feel based on my perceived perception of somebody perceiving me negatively, which is so, it's like crazy how intense the power of perception can be. But yeah, sorry, my kettle is gonna start being loud, so let's move. Yeah, when I feel like I'm being perceived negatively, and I'm such a people pleaser, and I'm such a, you know, I just want happy goodness and no conflict, and I struggle with how to deal with that. So I feel like when something comes up where it's like a negative opinion of me, or, you know, I feel like I'm being perceived negatively, I kind of like shrivel and I feel ashamed and I feel like I need to just hide because of that shame. And I don't want to anger anybody any further. So I'm like here like overanalyzing myself and like thinking like, God, am I doing something wrong? Is there something wrong about me? Sorry, we have to move back because my water's ready. So yeah, I feel like I'm aware of all of this, and, you know, in combination with like me working on having a loving response to myself when I come across anything that makes me feel those negative emotions like shame, and meeting myself with self-compassion and gentleness and forgiveness and tenderness, even when it's hard. I feel like you know, slowly I'm becoming better at receiving these inevitable negativities. And, you know, obviously as I continue to grow, it's just gonna keep being a thing. But I trust myself to work through anything that comes at me. And how dumb would that be if I let shit like that affect me and just make me like hide and minimize myself every time? So it's a really strange thing to be perceived so openly online. But it's never been a question in my mind of like, is all of this turmoil that I deal with as a result of being perceived vulnerably on the internet worth it? I've never thought that, because to me, when I started to get a good like flow and momentum on YouTube, and I started making videos regularly for the first time and like feeling like, oh shit, I'm doing this. I can do this. It's one of the best feelings, and I feel so proud of myself for, you know, coming as far as I have and being as consistent as I have, connecting with the people that I have, because these videos to me are a form of creativity and a form of self-expression in themselves, because these just feel like my own little diary or journal or something that I'm just putting in video format and posting to the internet for some reason. So it's there's much more beauty in it, and I know that, and I'm gonna continue regardless of any potential negative perception that comes towards me, because I know that I'm not doing anything wrong, and if I was, then the people who care about me would let me know. Just not on some whim to take a jab or anything. So yeah, that's my little resolution for now that I feel like I owed you guys after crying yesterday. Okay, I'm gonna finish making my coffee and then let's get this last sketchbook session done. Wow, what has this video turned into? Like, I legitimately only intended for this to be like, okay, I'm gonna do 7 sketchbook sessions and then talk about it and whatever, like, but I guess I just can't help myself from talking about my feelings. Okay, you guys, final sketchbook session of the week / of the video. Yeah, I think this one went well. I don't know, after talking out how I feel and getting some things off of my chest, both on the vlog and with myself, I'm feeling a little bit lighter and a little bit more open to creation, I guess. I feel like when there's like shit happening up here, it's harder for me to like get into the zone. I think that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I started off with just a photo study of Bruce Lee. I just like ran into this randomly on Pinterest and thought it was cool and felt like, you know, rendering out a body, that's cool. And I also really love doing photo studies of flash photography, which this is. Something about like drawing in the really deep shadows that you see with flash photography is very just satisfying to me. It feels like it adds a lot of like character to a photo, and so therefore it translates into the drawing. So yeah, that was good. I like how it turned out. I used again my Prismacolor Premier in red. I feel like I wanted to do red again to kind of redeem myself after my last spread, because I wasn't like 100% satisfied with how that one turned out. I feel like the red Posca with the red marker kind of ended up being a little bit too much. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to like allow myself to kind of spend some time on something, and yeah, this one ended up taking me about half of my session, and then I moved on to a couple just like figure things from a couple more references that I found on Pinterest. The first one is just like this really cool fit. Yeah. And yeah, the second one, I just found a photo of a girl and thought that I would try going in straight with my black pen. Yeah, for this session I was really tempted to listen to Brad again, mostly because the album is so infectiously catchy and good, and I just want to experience it another time. But I decided to kind of do this in silence, especially with the, I don't know, introspection and all of the reflection that I've been doing. I thought it would be healthy for me to just take this opportunity to sit with myself and just spend time with what I'm doing one-on-one rather than having something external alongside with me. Yeah, it felt good. I feel like I really appreciate the times that I allow myself to do something completely focused. I know it's like, it's almost like an automatic thing that like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and do something or do some work or work on something, then I gotta, you know, find something to put in the background or find a playlist or like decide what I want to listen to a new album, whatever. But, you know, the odd times that I intentionally think like, maybe I don't need something like that, or maybe I don't want something in the background. It feels like a really refreshing kind of reset, I guess. Don't get me wrong, like I still very much enjoy consuming the YouTube videos that I do and like having something in the background while I'm working on something. I watch a lot of like video essays that way and like hear other people's opinions, and I feel like that's a good thing. And it's kind of a lot to sit down and watch a multi-hour YouTube video essay without doing something while you're doing that. So I think that's fine. But I feel like especially in times like these where I'm, you know, I need a little bit more gentleness and intentionality in my life, silence can be appreciated. So yeah, this was nice. I'm always, you know, after doing any kind of like sketchbooking video or any kind of art making video where I specifically like am doing a larger quantity of work in a sketchbook or otherwise, it always leads to some sort of revelations about myself or feeling good looking back at everything that I've made in the past week, remembering, you know, old spreads and all that. So yeah, I'm really grateful for being able to make videos like these and having them kind of be what holds me accountable to challenging myself like this with my art. It's been a great like companion for me as I make art. I know like a lot of you put me on when you're like making your art, and I'm kind of serving as a companion for you, but just know that it's like, it's the same for me. It's the same the other way around. You guys, which is like literally right now, you're just my camera, but I know that I will be speaking to and connecting with so much more than just a camera, and knowing that you guys exist and my audience is there to receive whatever I'm doing here works as a art companion for me. But yeah. That's all for this video, you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry that I was like going through something while I was making this video. Hopefully the next video will be a little bit more clear. But if you watched all the way to the end, regardless of all of the fuck shit that I was talking about throughout this entire video, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit.